Hey friends, Birdie here, and I'm going to show you how to make this super beautiful macrame ornament, snowflake ornament. So in your kit, you're going to have your wood base, and you're also going to have 20 pieces of cording at 15 inches long. What you're going to need for the kit, or to complete, is a pair of scissors and some sort of brush, comb, even a cat's or dog's comb with the steel bristles works really great. Just something to comb out our ends there. All right, so for this ornament, we're going to use 2 knots, and we are creating crystals or petals off of our base. And the knots that we're going to be using are a lark's head knot and a square knot. So each petal or crystal is going to use 4 cords. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to get started. I'm going to start by doing 1 crystal with you. Remember, this is a video and you can pause, fast forward, rewind, and rewatch as many times as needed. Go slow, have patience, especially if this is your first time macrame. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a lark's head knot. And this is a knot that is always used in macrame. It attaches your cord to whatever your base is. So what we're going to do is fold our cording in half so our ends meet here, and then grabbing this other end where our fold is, I'm going to squeeze that to get it nice and skinny, and then we're going to put it in that first little slot. And so I naturally run this way, but you could go this way. I do recommend starting at the top where our hanger is, just so your crystals all form so they're not over that knot. Okay, so this is going to be our first cording. We're going to pull it through from the back side, and we're going to open up that loop back there. So we've got that loop. Then we're going to put our tails through the loop. And we're going to just give it a tug. I like to rock it back and forth. It kind of helps give it a nice, firm, tight knot. And then also using my thumb, I'll push that loop really tight while I pull with my fingers. And again, just tightening up that knot. We're going to do that 4 more times for this first petal or crystal. Now we're going to do a series of square knots. We're going to start by focusing on these first 2 cords, or set of 4. And a square knot is 4 cords. So you've got your left, your right, and your 2 center base cords. We're going to tie our knot around these. These don't do anything. They're just our base or our holding cords. So to create a square knot, I'm going to start with the the left, and I'm going to lay it over my bases to create a 4 shape. Then I'm going to take my right, lay it on top of my tail, slide it under the base, and up through the 4. So this is what we've got. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to hold on to my bases, and I'm using this finger to kind of pull, and then I'm pulling this tail. The key is to, 1, keep your bases nice and tight. You don't want them to bunch up at the top while we're pushing that knot up. The other thing you want to make sure is that you are equally pulling these. You don't want to try and pull this one individually of this one. Otherwise, that causes bunching and your knot will become bunched up and kind of ruined. So pulling these 2 at the same time while keeping this nice and tight. Just kind of slowly pull it up. And then once you get to the top, you can tighten it up. So here I'm going to pull this one, I'll pull this one, pull them at the same time, and then also pull my bases out in case there's any bunching in there. And then again, pull my tails one last time, and there we go. Now that's only the first part of the square knot. We're going to go in reverse for the second part. So we're going to take our right and lay it on top of our bases, to create a P shape. We're going to take our left, lay it on top of the tail of our P. We're going to go under the bases, okay, and then under the P and up through the P, okay, and again, now we're going to slowly just pull those two tails at the same time, keeping our bases as straight and tight as possible. And then once we get to the top, we can give it a nice firm tug, pull on our bases to make sure they're not caught up in there. And you can also use your thumb to push those knots up to the top there. Okay, so we're going to do that there. And then we're going to go to this side and do the square knot on this side. Okay. So that is a square knot on our first set of cords and our second set of cords. And now we're going to create a square knot combining those two, and that creates this fun little opening here. So we're going to push these outer two on the right and left aside. We don't need those right now. So we've got our bases here, we've got our left, and we've got our right, and we're going to create that square knot again. We're going to take our left, put it on top of the base to create the 4 shape. We're going to take our right, put it on top of the tail. We're going to go under the base. We're going to go under the 4's loop, and we're going to come up through that loop. And then we're going to pull, keeping our bases nice and tight. Now, one thing when we're creating this knot here, we don't want to pull it so tight that we lose that opening. So we just want to make sure that it's firm, but not that we're squeezing it so tight that we close that opening. Once we get the second part of this knot, it's going to tighten it all up and make it nice and secure. Okay, that's the first part. So now we're going to take the second part of it by going in reverse. We're going to take our right, put it on top of our tails to create the P shape. We're going to take our left, we're going to go on top of the P's tail. We're going to go under the base, under the P, and then up through that P's loop. And then we're going to pull. This is where it's going to secure that knot. We still have that little hole here, and then that's it. This is one crystal, one petal, and we're going to continue this all the way around. All right, once you have all your crystals or petals completed, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. You're going to go and trim all of your tails. I kept my tails about a thumb's width or about an inch long, and I just grabbed 2 tails at a time and kept them. One thing to note when you're trimming your tails is you don't want to cut them too short that your knot is going to unravel. All right, once we've got all our tails cut and trimmed, starting to look a little funky, but now we're going to comb out our tails. And so this is where this brush comes in handy. And we're just gonna work our way around each of these tails. And there we are. Now once we've got all of our tails combed out, we can go back and do some further trimming. I can see I've got a couple long ones here. So I'm just gonna take my scissors. And there we go. There is our macrame snowflake ornament. I hope you enjoyed this craft, and I look forward to chatting with you later. Happy crafting, guys. Bye.